line with us once more here this morning as we talk with her about mental health. The last time we talked with her last month, it was about recession, anxiety, insomnia. How about that? I hope you're all getting better sleep now. Marie, I hope you are too.
Yes, thank you.
Because the recession news is certainly not, it's not exactly picking us up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But here's this new study, and it is interesting to me. If you just read the headline, it almost gives you the entire story. Depression is not caused by the, quote, chemical imbalance in the brain, which is often something that is blamed and it becomes a catch-all phrase that doesn't really mean anything to us because we don't know how to define it. It's just someone almost literally shrugging their shoulders and saying, I don't know, you got something going on in your brain there that's wrong. It's much more complicated than that, and a study of studies basically says that that's not really helpful. It's not caused by low serotonin or a chemical imbalance in the brain. So what does cause depression, or can you even say that one thing or another thing causes depression?
Well, it could be a number of things, but what they're saying is that they don't even know what these treatments are actually doing in the brain, and that's pretty scary. And they're saying that it actually has nothing to do with helping people. It's so sad because some psychiatrists are even saying that this is what they grew up learning. This is what they're taught in school, that depression is caused by low serotonin levels, and now they're finding out, no, it's not. And so it could be caused by the original things that, some of the older generation always, you're stressed out maybe because, you're depressed maybe because you're stressed, or you're lonely, or maybe, you lose a job, you get fired, like I was fired, you get sad, and you pick yourself back up. Or maybe there's some trauma that someone's gone through. And unfortunately, the pharmaceutical industry has convinced clinicians that taking pharmacological treatment is going to help you, and that's going to eliminate the depression, and that's not the case.
Marie is the author of Greater Fortune, Essential Lessons from the Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her. Our conversation is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. So, Marie, that really is one of the great takeaways from this particular study is that we look for medications automatically. That's the first thing we look for. What medication is going to restore the serotonin level in our brain, and that should take care of the problem. But then it doesn't, and we're left scratching our heads, puzzling over why it didn't work, when really it should not have been the first approach anyway, should it?
Exactly, yeah. It should never be the first approach, and I'm very passionate about that because that's why I'm in the industry I'm in, is because my mother, when she had brain damage, she suffered depression, so she was on a lot of medications, and it caused schizophrenia. She had all kinds of issues going on, and it made things worse. And now I know that there are treatments for people who've had brain injuries and have imbalances, not because of the chemical, but because of damage done in the brain, and there's other ways to treat. However, if someone is on some type of antidepressant, they should definitely get help from the doctor and not just get off of it because there are addiction. These drugs are addictive, and there could be some problems with addiction, and you need to be weaned off carefully. So if you're listening to this and say, oh, it doesn't work, I'm going to get off of them, you do need to talk to your healthcare provider because they are very addictive. But they are finding out, hey, no, this serotonin levels has nothing to do with depression. It will not help. And in many cases, some of these medications are making the situation worse for the patient. So it could be something having to do with stress or past trauma. So definitely talking to your doctor and saying, hey, I heard about this study, and trying to find other ways to solve the situation of whatever you are going through.
Well, that's an interesting statement because of your case specifically. And your book title tells us, The Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her, and the mental health issues that you suffered because of that particular mental trauma. I think that one of the things that we tend to do is to downplay mental trauma because it's not a physical injury to the brain. But mental trauma is very injurious, and because of it, people suffer and sometimes find it very, very difficult to recover from it and to, as you said, bounce back from it.
Remember, my kids, we went through domestic violence, and so my kids had PTSD. And one of the first things that the counselors always wanted to push for my kids was pharmacological treatment. And I always remembered, my mom, that would try to give her that, and it was the worst thing. And I said, no, there's other solutions. And we were able to get through it, not through pharmacological treatment, but I remember the doctors, oh, would you like this? This will help you. And I knew that it was a trauma that they had gone through, why they were struggling, and they are successful adults now. But there are things that people can do, and I would recommend they talk to a life coach, they talk to a counselor, they talk to a therapist that understands any trauma or stress that you've gone through that can help you bounce back.
Marie Cosgrove is our guest, Dr. Marie Cosgrove, as we visit with her today, talking about depression and whether it's a chemical imbalance in your brain or whether it is some other factor that could be causing your depression. Marie, if you know that you have had a problem in the past and have recovered from it, or if you have a family history of depression, is there a way to preemptively prevent yourself or help yourself to prevent depression?
Well, some of the things you can do are you need to talk to somebody, talk to a professional about that. But there are ways that you can definitely bounce back. And once you have these skill sets, when you hit a point that causes depression, you can turn to your toolkit and rely on that to get you past those situations, because we all go through difficulties in life. No one goes unscathed. And I know I'm going to continue to face some difficulties in life, but I also understand how to push forward and not let it get me down. And I share some of these tips in my book, Greater Fortune, and Essential Lessons from the Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her. And I think that is key, is having those skill sets to be able to push forward, because if you get stuck, so many times we become so laser focused on the situation. For example, if you lost your job, you got fired, you're so laser focused on that, and it causes this depression, and you're not able to look at the bigger picture. Look, I've got these great skill sets. Yeah, I got fired, but you know what? I've got these great skill sets I can apply here, or I can apply my skill sets towards this situation and get a better job. And you don't look at all of the opportunities that are available to you because you're so laser focused on the problem, and that's when people get so depressed and they say there's no way out because that's all they see. And talking to someone, talking to a life coach, talking to a counselor, a professional, or a psychotherapist may help you to get past those difficult situations.
Our great friend, Dr. Ralph May, who comes in locally and speaks with us about mental health issues, is very, very big on that very thing, on taking advantage of the resources available to you, the professionals who can help you to get through your depression or something that might lead to depression, as Dr. Ralph puts it quite often. You could withdraw within yourself and then try to fight this out all by yourself, all alone in the arena, or you could team up on whatever the problem might happen to be, and that team approach seems to work best.
Absolutely. I remember when I got fired, I went to Dr. Martin. I was crying. I was like, oh, my goodness, I lost my job. And he's like, this is the best day of your life. And he helped me get through it, not by giving me money or doing anything like that, just believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. So sometimes even just going to a trusted friend that can help you get past that situation, because like I said, you sometimes alone, it's not going to help you sitting there and just thinking about the problem all by yourself. And I love what your friend says is, yes, a team approach. Reach out to someone and get some help with the resources available to you.
Dr. Marie Cosgrove, our guest, an award-winning speaker, author of Greater Fortune, Essential Lessons from the Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her. We've spoken with her before and she's a really upbeat speaker. So, Marie, where are we going to learn more? How are we going to get our hands on your book?
You can get my book on Amazon, anywhere books are sold. My website is mariecosgrove.com, and on social media, I'm at Resilient Expert.
Beautiful, beautiful. Have a wonderful day today. You're heading back to Ohio, huh?
I'm heading back to Ohio. Yep.
Yeah. Where do you live in Ohio?
I live in Dayton, Ohio.
There you go. That's a wonderful place. I like Dayton a lot. It's 8:56 in the morning. Dr. Marie, have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
It is The Voice.
Thank you.